Hi everyone, and welcome to this month's Do You Know show. As always, thanks so much for tuning in. We do appreciate it. This month we have another jam-packed show of events happening in our community. On this month's show, we're going to be heading over to the Pennock Fun Days Parade. It's always a great event in the community of Pennock. Then we're going to head over to Willmar City offices and talk to our new City Administrator, Charlene Stevens. She's going to give us some information about herself and also her thoughts on the city. And then Jamin had a chance to talk with Art Norby at the first annual New London Art Festival. We'll show you some highlights from that. And then we're going to head over to the Candioi County Fair and check out the famous LA Pig Races. It was a new event this year at the fair, and it had a spectacular turnout. Jody's also going to be in studio from the Early Childhood Initiative and the Early Childhood Family Programs and talk about the 6th annual Story Time with the Firefighters. This year it is at a different location, so you're going to want to make sure to find out information that she gives us about that event. And then, as always, Bev and Susan are going to be in studio. This month we're going to talk from the Candioi County Fair about the butterfly garden that they had there, and then also we're going to head out to the Spicer Castle and talk about some indigenous plants. And it is all right here on this month's Do You Know? All right, welcome to Willmar City offices and the office of our new City Administrator, Charlene Stevens. Charlene, thank you for being on our program.
Thank you for having me on the program.
I know that you've been out and about in the community and you've been doing some things when you were here for your interview, and you've had a chance to see what Willmar was like. Tell us one of the reasons why you chose Willmar.
Well, I chose Wilmer because it just has a lot of great opportunities going forward as a community. I was very impressed by the Midwest Technology Campus, by the parks, the recreation, of course the access to the lakes, and just the diversity of the community as well. And so for me it was really about an opportunity to kind of come home and get closer to family in this area, but then just also a tremendous opportunity professionally to lead a community like this.
And that's nice. For the people that haven't had a chance to see you and meet you, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and your family?
Sure. I've been in local government for about 15 different years. I started my career actually in nonprofit, and then I moved over into local government. I've worked for the City of Wichita, Kansas. I worked for 2 suburban Philadelphia communities, and then I came back to Kansas to work for Sedgwick County government, and I spent 5 years working for Sedgwick County government. And as an assistant county manager, I oversaw health and human services and information operations, but my heart is really with city government and the ability to kind of make a daily impact on folks. And then I'm also a native of South Dakota. I was born and raised in Sioux Falls, and that's still where my family is. And then I also have family in central Minnesota as well as the Twin Cities. So this is just, again, a good professional and personal fit for me.
That's nice. And I know that you had a chance to get out when you were doing your interview and see the city departments, and you've been able to now tour more in depth of the different entities. Tell us a little bit about your thoughts about what the city, the infrastructure, what do you see?
Well, I see a lot of good things with the city. I see obviously there are some challenges with the infrastructure of the city. Some of the infrastructure is aging, and that's a challenge. It's not unique to Wilmer, but that's a challenge to be addressed in the coming years. The new wastewater treatment plant, that's a really kind of exciting thing for the city and to be able to complete that project. And I had an opportunity to tour the wastewater treatment plant, really impressive facility, so that is just excellent. And my family, I have a young family, and so they've been able to explore more of the parks and recreation than I have. But I did have a chance to kind of get over to the aquatic center and see that, and I've had a chance to go to a couple of Stingers baseball games. So I just think there's a lot of good amenities in this community, and it's a well-planned community, and so we've been very impressed with it as newcomers to the city.
Well, I know that our past Mick Schmidt, our past city administrator, did a really good job in his leadership. With you as the new city administrator, what is your look to the future for the city of Wilmer?
My look to the future for the city of Wilmer is to kind of keep building on the things that are here, the building blocks that are here, kind of continue to support the Midwest Technology Campus. I think that's really important for the community's growth and development and the economy. I think there are some opportunities with downtown redevelopment that could be exciting for the community, and so being able to build on that and move that forward, I think will be an exciting opportunity for the community. And I think it's important to the community. It's vital to have a vibrant downtown. Again, I think the challenge of managing the infrastructure, streets and roads, and this was certainly a challenging year with streets and roads with all of the frost boils, so continuing to invest in our infrastructure. I think that the parks and recreation, I think those are a very important quality of life issue for any city, and I think it's great that the city and the school districts have such a good partnership on that. But again, that's infrastructure that we need to continue to maintain and continue to support.
Well, you know, they say it's a great place to live, work, and play, and we welcome you here, and we thank you for choosing Wilmer. And if there's any people that have any questions for Charlene, or in fact any of the city departments, as always, you can call city offices at 235-4913, and they'll get you to the entity that you want to talk to. All right, that wraps it up here from city offices. You are watching Do You Know?
everybody. We're over in New London, and we're at the New London Fine Arts Festival. If you haven't heard of it, you want to find out about it, because my friend Art Norby's been working like a dog to make sure that you can have some fun and find out about all the art that's available from local and regional and state artists. Art, how did you decide to do this? This is so fun.
Well, I guess I just needed one more art show under my belt, you know. After I came back to New London last year, I thought it would be just about time to do something in the community, because I've done so many art functions around the country.
Well, Art, people may not be aware of you because you were a local hero here, and then you went other places, and your artwork is world-renowned. And we want to tell people a little bit about you, too. So tell our viewers out there who you are and what kind of art you do. He does really amazing stuff.
Boy, I don't know if I can get that in less than 24 or 36 minutes, but you know, I started my art career in Willmar, and after about 3 years of making scrimshaw and jewelry, I opened an art gallery in the Centerpoint Mall, and then I opened another gallery in Spicer a year later, and eventually I went on to start making sculpture, and I've traveled all over the country as a sculptor, and have done monumental works that are everywhere from Trenton, New Jersey to Santa Fe and Los Angeles, and in Arizona I have quite a few. I was fortunate enough to be chosen to do the Korean War Memorial, which is at the state capitol in St. Paul, and I'm sure that's the highlight of my career. But I'm at a point now where I still make sculpture and I still paint, but I'm trying to give back to the community and help improve the visibility of the arts and the acceptance of the arts in our part of the world.
So you decided to get together with a bunch of sponsors and put together all your artist friends and a few that maybe you didn't know before, and put on this fantastic new festival. So tell people about the New London Fine Art Festival.
We're on or at least I'm on a 5-year path. My goal is to make New London as much of an art center as it wants to become, and to help by bringing some out-of-the-box ideas in. The art shows that we have seen in the area mostly have been shows put on for the local artists, and it's a wonderful thing to do, but what I'm trying to do is to bring artists from other parts of the state or other parts of the country to the community, so that the community will have some new experiences. And the artists that have been invited here were juried. They had to compete for the space, and some of them I knew beforehand, but mostly I knew them only very casually. And when we put out a call to artists, we had response from artists from Minneapolis and Blue Earth and St. Cloud and Ortonville and Alexandria and Bemidji. And we have, I think we're at about 15 artists. I thought we were going to be closing in on 20, but we have about 15 artists whose work is superlative. We have jewelry makers, a silversmith named Jane Menden, who does wonderful work. Eunice Buchanan is from Willmar, and of course her work is very good. And I don't want to try to mention all of the names because there are too many, but it's good art, and it's a small gathering of people that I hope that next year when we do the event, we'll get more of the regional residents to come see us.
Well, if you haven't been to this, and if you're not here right now, you won't have been to this, but next year you definitely want to see this. It's fantastic. Everything from watercolors to glass to home woven material, really beautiful works of art. This is the New London Fine Art Festival. It's in August of each year. This is the first one. Art has worked very hard to put this on, and we'll look forward to it again next year. We're going to go over and talk to one of our artists, and we're moving on. We're at the New London Fine Arts Festival, and we're with one of the artists. You may not be aware of the person who does all these wonderful pictures that you may see in the region of Green Lake and all the other kinds of lakes and fauna that are in our region. But Sharon Schutze is one of our local artists, and she does a fantastic job, and she is showing today at the Fine Arts Festival. Sharon, this is so great. It's so wonderful to see your work. Tell us a little bit about how you decided to start doing beautiful landscapes and pictures around our region.
Well, it's something I've always liked to do, is local out wherever I've lived, and this is a beautiful area to be able to do this, so I'm very happy to have all the lakes around our area to do, and rivers and special landmark places that are dear to people that come here to visit in the summer, and for those of us lucky enough to live here.
Well, I was walking through your booth and I saw that you actually have the Pirates Cove. You've got some children on the playground sets. You've got some wonderful water ski watercolors of children on the Little Crow team. How do you decide what you're going to paint?
Oh, that can be hard, but I just try to look for things that I know people are involved in, activities that we like to do here, and things that I think people might be meaningful to people that they have happy memories of. And sometimes now these paintings go back 10 years or so, and so people come and sometimes they're just inspired by things that they used to do even. So I think it's fun to be able to do that and to add that to our community and the things we appreciate here.
Well, you do just fabulous work. So if you're looking for a watercolor of the pond with a beautiful gazebo, or you're looking for antique cars, or you're looking for the beautiful parks in our region, Sharon does just a fantastic job in watercolor. We want to encourage everybody to get out next August and come to the New London Fine Arts Festival. It's a juried show. Maybe you are an artist, maybe a closet artist, and maybe you want to be a part of this. Art Norby is the person in charge, and we want to encourage you to get a hold of Art and the Fine Arts Festival in New London and be a part of it. Come on out, buy art, see art, or do art. It's all great. You're watching the Do You Know Show, and we're moving on.
All right, it is the Candioi County Fair, and a great day to be out here. It's always a great day to be out here. We really want to thank all the board for Candioi County Fair for putting on such a great event. All the activities that are going on throughout the year are a great family event and really inexpensive. Today, though, we're out here to talk about the famous LA Pig Races. Everything that I've heard so far has been just great. Everyone's excited about it. And why don't you tell us, Jeremy, a little bit about what we're going to see tonight. It's brand new here at the Candioi County Fair.
Yeah, it's brand new. This is the first year we've been here. The pigs, what they're going to do is, well, we do a number of things. We do races, we do games for the kids, we do games for the adults. So we try to include everybody in the show. What they're going to do is, there's going to be numbers on the board, and I'm going to walk around and I'm going to pick people out of the audience, and their name will go on the board, and they can pick a pig. And there's usually 5 pigs to a heat, and then if their pig wins, they win a prize.
Oh, excellent. So it's just more than just watching the pigs. You get the people involved with it, and I bet you they have a great time.
They do. The kids especially really enjoy it. They do hula hoops, jump ropes, bouncy balls, as well as many different games for the adults to participate in.
That's great. And where are you guys out of?
We're out of Leader, Minnesota. It's a little town north of Motley. It's population 7. So there's more pigs than people.
Oh, that's nice. And so do the pigs have names? I know they got numbers on it, but do you have an Arnold in there somewhere?
We could have. We don't generally name them, but yeah, by the time we're done with our show, people have named all of them. So.
All right, well, I'm going to name one Arnold from the Green Acres show, and hopefully Arnold will win. If people want to get a hold of you to maybe put on an event like this, because you do a number of other fairs and some other things like this around the, well, I suppose all around Minnesota, United States, how would they get a hold of you? What's your number?
Well, you can contact us up at the Bears Den in Leader, and our phone number is 218-397-2331.
All right. We're here at the Candioi County Fair. It's the famous LA Pig Races. I'm looking forward to it. So let's check it out.
Hi, Jody Wambeck with the Wilmer Early Childhood Family Programs and Early Childhood Initiative, here today to talk to you about a wonderful event happening in Wilmer on Tuesday, October 4th from 6 to 7:30. It is the 6th annual Storytime with the Firefighters. This event brings out many families and community members and is just a great event. This year, though, we're doing things just a little bit different. Typically, we're at the fire station and we have all the fire trucks and we grill hot dogs and all that good stuff. Well, this year we are teaming up with the Wilmer Municipal Utilities and we are going to be hosting this event out at the Wilmer Civic Center. We are still going to have the fire trucks come out. We're still going to have the great food. We're still going to have the story read. It's just going to be in a new location. So when you register, be sure to let us know if you're going to need transportation, because we will be providing transportation from the fire station out to the Civic Center, but we'll need to know that. So if you are interested in joining us for the 6th annual event, which is always a fabulous event for families, please give us a call at 231-8490 to register. You're watching Do You Know?
Hi, this is Bev Davis on the Do You Know show, and my friend Susan Matson and I are very pleased to do this show every year on RAC TV, and we have some special guests today live from the Candy, Ohio County Fair in the Horticulture Society and Master Gardener Garden Booth, and it is Laura Molinar and her summer students. Hi, Laura.
Hi, it's good to see you, Beth.
And we have Jordan here.
Hi.
And Josh.
Hi.
And they've been working on a special project all summer long with the University of Minnesota and Monarchs. And Laura, can you just start off with telling us a little bit about why you're doing this?
We started about 10 years ago, so I've had 10 groups of students over the last few summers that have been doing research for a citizen science program called the Monarch Larva Monitoring Project. You can check that out online, just add a .org at the end. And this project is with the University of Minnesota and Professor Dr. Karen Oberhauser. And what we do is we look for the presence of monarchs in the field. We look for the larvae and the eggs, and we count those. And that research is used by scientists across the country. And as we've been doing this over the last 10 or 11 years, a lot of questions have been answered about the monarchs' development and about the monarchs' migration, and if they are laying eggs as they head to Texas and Mexico. So we have a really valuable part in the research of monarchs, and we're finding and proving that students that are 10, 11, 12, 13 years old can give a lot of information to help the field of science. So it's exciting for them to be doing real science that is making a difference for our understanding of an organism that's so precious to all of us.
And Laura, of course, too, is also an amazing science teacher, at New London Spicer Schools, and I know my own daughter has had a chance to have you as an instructor, and she's in this program too, along with Jordan. Jordan, why did you do this with Mrs. Molinar and the Monarchs? What was your reason?
Well, I was offered the chance to be able to, and well, I decided that I wanted to, and I've had a really fun time being able to do it, so it's just a fun thing for me to be able to do more science, because I really do love to do science.
So what's been your favorite part about the project so far?
Being able to do everything that we get to do, like go to science fairs and stuff, and be able to go out in the field and monitor with all of our friends.
And I would imagine you had to keep pretty good records, too.
Yeah, it's pretty detailed, I guess, so it's a lot of work, but once you do it for a while, it gets pretty easy.
And, you know, it's funny now, even with my own daughter, I notice we'll be outside and she'll be able to tell me things. Did you know this? Did you know this? And I thought, boy, that information is implanted now for a lifetime.
Each of the students does a research project at the end of the season, and that research project is done in the same format as a research project done by a graduate student at the university. Sometimes some of the students are investigating a question that is similar to one that a graduate student's doing. It's really exciting to see them working at that level of science. Of course, it's a little more simplistic in the statistics and the data because they're 5th, 6th, and 7th grade students, but it's exciting to see the work they're doing.
Now we're going to talk with Josh. Now, you have a little friend in your hand there.
Mm-hmm.
Did you grow him or her?
No, actually, Mrs. Molinar grew this one at her house, and I'm just sampling it here now. And
Okay, now what do you have over here to your left, Josh?
those are monarch chrysalises. It's when they've gone from their caterpillar stage to the monarch or the chrysalis stage, and a few of them are ready to hatch sometime today, and others will be within a few days.
So now this summer's almost been like having kids of your own. You had to take these little guys home and take care of them and feed them and watch them and...
Yeah, it's not as easy as it looks. The hard part was probably finding where all the milkweed is, because I don't have as much at my house as I probably could use.
How many, Mrs. Molinar asked?
Over 100.
Oh my goodness, that's a lot.
Each of those monarchs, he's checking on them for a disease. So that's his project, is the prevalence of this disease that is part of the monarch population that causes them to die. So he's checking to see if the weather affects that or the presence of that, and he's comparing that with the presence of that disease in another part of the country. He's collecting that data from another site.
So next time you see a monarch, think about all the different work that's gone on locally and around the state and nationally for this program. What's the site for more information?
It's the Monarch Larva Monitoring Project, so it's mlmp.org. Or you can just research, just check the Monarch Lab, Google the Monarch Lab, and it will be one of your choices on the Monarch Lab. And there's lots of pictures and information about rearing your own and what you can do there. There's information. The monarchs only will eat milkweed plant. We have a lot of varieties of milkweed in Minnesota. The 4 most common, we brought samples of those today, are pretty easy to find in a road ditch or along a bike trail, and so they're very easy to rear.
Okay, thank you very much for being here, Jordan, Mrs. Molinar, Josh. It's been very, very fun. Again, from the Monarch Garden at the Candy Ojai County Fair. And through the magic of television, we'll see you next at the Spicer Castle, and we'll probably be wearing different clothes. Welcome to the grounds of the Spicer Castle on Green Lake. This is Bev Davis and Susan Matson, and we want to talk a little bit about historic planting. Now, Susan, as a master gardener, you were contacted by the folks at Spicer Castle to give them ideas, or what did they want?
Yes, they wanted to have someone come out and take a look at the flower beds that were already in place here, and then come up with some ideas and maybe of some historic types of plants that would have been here when the Spicer Castle was built or when the family lived here in the early 1900s. And so I actually came out twice, and the second time with a group of, or with a couple more gardeners, one who was very familiar with lake shore restoration, and the other one that was very familiar with heirloom varieties. And we took a look at all the flower beds that are around here, and there are many. We're standing behind one of the barrels right now, but there are also gardens all over the area wherever there were opportunities to plant. Next to the kitchen, there is an area that is used for herbs, rhubarb, as might have been used at that time during the early 1900s for kitchen herbs or kitchen plants. Bev maybe can tell us a little bit about the historic parts of the castle.
Well, you know, the one thing I guess I was thinking about too is that everything was so manual and labor intensive at that time that, you know, maybe they didn't always have the time to take care of their flower gardens like we would. It had to be pretty practical, like you said, herbs and then perhaps the rhubarb and some traditional plants. Obviously, I remember my grandmother having the lilacs and the peonies and that type of thing too. And certainly you can get some information at some various places. Now, Susan, you've checked out some things online that might help.
I did look under heirloom varieties or heirloom plants on the internet and came up with many suggestions, and many which are in the gardens already. Some of them are unique to the area. You need to make sure that if you're planting in Minnesota that they are plants that are in the same zone that we live in, which is Zone 4. And they're listed by zone. You can also order catalogs that will give you some other ideas. One of the problems that we encountered here were the fact that there's a lot of big shade trees that were shading some of the flower gardens that prevented some of the sun-loving flowers from growing. And so they had a variety of plants in a flower bed. Some of them just weren't very effective. And so we made some suggestions for moving some of the plants to different locations. We also talked a little bit about the lakeshore management. And I don't know if you want to tell a little bit about that.
Well, I think one of the challenges would be that, of course, if you're trying to stay traditional in a historic place like Spicer Castle, but then you also have to follow along with modern rules and regulations for taking care of some of that, and even using chemicals and things, because you were talking about how there's quite a bit of poison ivy right along the slope here of the Spicer Castle. I think a fun story is about how, of course, dandelions were introduced, is that someone wanted salad. Well, of course, that's become one of our weeds that we try to get rid of all the time. And then also just trying to stay true, like you said, to the historic nature of the surroundings and try to incorporate some of the older plants with maybe some of the newer ones. We've talked earlier several times about how you get some color, and yet if there's a lot of shade, that can really be a problem. And obviously there's some really sunny spots here at the Spicer Castle, and definitely some very deep shade as well. And then you can even get into how it complements the side of the building without interrupting with the historic features of the building as well. Anything else you want to add, Susan?
Well, the other issue that they have had to deal with is the large area that they have covered here. It was a very, and it only covers probably where the homestead was. And if you go across the road, you get to where the farm buildings were. But this is quite a large area that they have to keep up, too. And since the public is using the facility, it means that people are coming here, and so it always has to look nice throughout the whole area.
Well, and you think of, too, the Spicer family, when they were here, this was their summer home. And I don't know if they had a full-time landscaper or not. Like the beautiful mansion in Duluth, there was a little cabin there for the on-site gardener. But if you do have some historic plantings that you would like to make, or some changes in your garden, make sure that you also check out the Extension website, where we get a lot of our information as well, and that's extension.umn.edu. This is Bev and Susan from the Spicer Castle on Green Lake.
That wraps it up for this month's Do You Know? As always, if you have any questions, comments, or show ideas, feel free to give us a call here at the studio at 231-0594. Next month, more of the same. We're going to head out and about in the community and find out what's going on. You're watching Do You Know? Until next month, we'll see you around town.